Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Joncast podcast. Sorry if I sound a little bit nasally. Sorry if there's a lot of stuff going on. Getting over being sick, and being sick always sucks. But today, we are going to be talking about wrestling. We're going to be talking about Backlash. Coming out of that show, another premium live event in the books. So yeah, before we get into it, like, subscribe, leave a comment what you think about the episode, stuff like that. I want to give a shout out to a recent friend, Darkstar Shady, and his co-host by the name of Zach. They have started a podcast called Wrestling is Fiction. I will be leaving a link to their podcast in the description below this one. And basically what they have done is, as wrestling fans, they decided to, in essential, do a WWE My GM kind of thing. They both drafted their own rosters of wrestlers, and basically they're doing their own booking of stuff going forward. They just finished doing their booking of how they would have booked Backlash. No, we're on the other side of it now, but hey, you can go check out what they have going forward for their storylines and stuff like that. They also just talk about wrestling, what's going on in the world of wrestling, their views and opinions on that. So yeah, go check them out, give them some love. I definitely been enjoying it so far. They are 3 episodes in on their podcast, but yeah, I think if I got this right, I may have my dates wrong. I believe they record Wednesdays and episodes drop Thursdays. If you guys listen to this, I apologize if I got that wrong, but I hope I got it right. If not, you can go over to their podcast and they will tell you the exact thing. But let's get into it, people. Let's talk about WWE Backlash. Man, first and foremost, I want to talk about the crowd. That French, I don't know what I was about to say, that French crowd, they were on fire all night from the beginning of the show to the end of the show. I would not have been surprised if you told me that show went off the air and they were still in there going crazy. That was just an amazing experience. That made the whole experience of just a show like maybe 10 times better than it was. So let's go to the very beginning. Like, when first match on the card is Kevin Owens and Randy Orton versus the Bloodline, which consisted of Solo Sikoa and Tama Tonga. So what really got me, right, Kevin Owens came out, and the crowd, well, like I said, they were just on fire. You would have thought Kevin Owens was hometown, that hometown ovation, can't talk, that hometown crowd reaction that you wrestlers usually get. The man was just soaking it in, and it'll just listen on TV, because sometimes when you're at home watching it and you don't really grasp the effect, like the real sound of it coming, like what it sounds like in the building. But the way he was soaking it in, you could tell. Even on commentary, they just kept mentioning how loud it was in the building, and how they felt like they didn't even need to say anything just because of how loud it was in the building. And then when Randy Orton came out, I may be wrong on this, I might be speaking hyperbole, I might be lying, but I feel like maybe somebody's gonna show me something and go, hey, look, this happened here. But that's the first time I feel like I ever heard a crowd singing Randy Orton's song. Like, I know we all love Randy Orton's theme, but I feel like it's the first time we have everybody was just singing the song. Even when it went off, they were still singing it. That was just amazing. That was an amazing thing to watch. But into the match. First, the match didn't even get started, right? They were brawling before the match started. All hell was breaking loose. They was just fighting. Tama Tonga and Kevin Owens was going at it. Randy Orton was going at it with Solo Sikoa, and then it came down to Nick Aldis coming out saying, you know what, if we can't get a proper match started, we're gonna make this a no DQ match. I mean, I would have felt better if he just said bloodline rules, but hey, whatever. But yeah, we just had pretty much action in the crowd, just action everywhere, just things going on. We had in the whole beginning of the match, really, the Bloodline was getting packed up. They were getting beat down, everything. And then eventually, tables started to turn, and Kevin Owens ended up in the ring by himself and taking a whole bunch of just getting beat up like Kevin Owens usually does. Then, Randy Orton eventually came back in the ring when this happened and, started to turn the tables, hit an RKO on Tama Tonga, and then took Solo out the ring, or Solo took him out the ring, and then eventually turned that around on Solo, hit him with an RKO on the table. Then it came down to a one-on-one with Tama Tonga and Kevin Owens. Something I want to say that happened during the broadcast, I feel like it's weird if we just call him Tama or we just call him Tonga. Like, between Michael Cole and Corey Graves, one of them referred, like, throughout the match, they would either refer to him as just Tama or just Tonga. And I was like, it just feels weird if we just don't say Tama Tonga. But that's just me. It's a little, very small gripe that probably doesn't even matter in the scheme of things. But it just feels weird, like, right? Like, every time they said it, I was just like, I don't know. It's just strange. Like, if you just say Tama or you just say Tonga. But we got a spot that, usually Kevin Owens is the end of, where, he takes the chairs, sets them up side by side in a way, around about 6 chairs or so, I think it was 4 this time, and hit Tama Tonga with the fisherman suplex through the chairs, and it looks like he was about to get the 1, 2, 3. So we got the 1, we got the 2, then the referee got pulled out the ring, and then we had the debut of Jacob Fatu. Okay, no, that's not what really happened. We had the debut of Tonga Loa, which is Tama Tonga's brother. Now, me personally, I don't know of Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa's work on New Japan, but I do know of them. I've never invested into New Japan to do this, but they were part of Bullet Club, and I know Bullet Club. I know stuff of Bullet Club. I have seen stuff like that. I have seen their work. I'm just not invested into their work, so I felt cool when I actually knew who it was, but I was one of the people who definitely put my eggs in the basket of it being Jacob Fatu being the one to debut at this show, but it was Tonga Loa, which I'm even more excited, because immediately in my brain I was like, we could possibly get, whenever this bloodline Civil War breaks out, we could get the Usos versus Tama Tonga and Tonga Loa, and I was like, that sounds like it's gonna be a fire match whenever that happens. But since we got here, right, I'm feeling like, so we definitely got one side, since we already know that Jacob Fatu is signed to WWE, and everybody's predicting it, everybody's waiting for him to debut. I feel like at this point now, maybe we should hold off, right? Just really hold off. Don't even bring him in until the time Roman comes back. And I only say that because I feel like if Roman comes back, right, I feel like we're going to do a match of Solo and Tama Tonga Loa versus Roman and the Usos. I feel like that's probably going to be the match. If Jacob Fatu debuts before that, it's always just who's going to be the 4th. For me, I feel like maybe Jacob Fatu debuts at that match, right, and changes the tide over. They beat Roman and they beat the Usos. I just don't feel like, for me, I don't feel like when Roman comes back that he necessarily needs to win, and that's only just because of storytelling. We're gonna drown this out. I think it's an amazing thing overall that Roman lost at WrestleMania, but we still have so much more story we can tell with the bloodline, and just this whole thing going on with Solo, Tonga Loa, Tama Tonga. Now it's just interesting. Even now, Paul Heyman on SmackDown revealing that it wasn't Roman who pulled this off out the draft. I'm going to talk about the draft in this episode as well, but it wasn't Roman who pulled himself out the draft, but it was actually Paul Heyman, and Paul Heyman saying that he hasn't communicated with Roman Reigns since WrestleMania, which is also a kind of revealing thing. But yeah, that's what happened with that match. Tonga Loa debuted, and they put Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens got hit with the spinning Solo, then they got hit with the Samoan Spike, and that was it. Got put away 1, 2, 3. So definitely very interested to see this bloodline angle going forward, especially later in the night when right before Jimmy's match with Damian Priest. we had this little kind of storytelling kind of thing of they passed by each other. We saw all of them look at him, Solo, Tamatanga, Tongaloa, and then Paul Heyman kind of looked at Jimmy with this look of like, like it's not good, it's not looking good over here, like we need some help, like something like that. Like it was just a lot of storytelling with Paul Heyman's face, right? So after that match, we got our triple threat match, which was Bayley versus Naomi versus Tiffany Stratton. To me, in this match, this was a solid match once again, but like I said, the crowd with Bayley, everybody loves Bayley wherever we go, even as a heel, everybody loves Bayley. But I feel like this match, it was like more of the showcase of Tiffany Stratton. Like, I think we've all seen it at this point. Like, she is going to be such a star whenever they decide to pull the trigger on her. It's just like she has the crowd, even though she's a heel, they seem to love her. We always the Tiffy time chants, always. And just what she's able to do in the ring. And it's crazy because she's only been doing it for 3 years, right? She's so young and has all this potential ahead of her. And, I feel like eventually, like whenever Bayley loses, I feel like the easiest thing to do is just to put it on Tiffany Stratton, right? Let's give her a chance to run with the ball and see how far she goes. Let Bayley have her long title reign, and like whatever. If we come around to SummerSlam, I feel like the best option right now feels like Tiffany Stratton. Unless they want to go I believe Nia Jax is on SmackDown now. Unless they want to go that route and make her that. Like I would have wanted to see Nia Jax as well, but it's just like Tiffany Stratton just seemed like such a big. She's gonna be such a big star in the future, and it's like I don't see a problem with pulling the trigger now. She made me want to see her as champion. But yeah, so like I said, I just feel like this was just Tiffany was involved in a lot of this, and I just felt like overall this was a solid match. We had Bayley going over by pinning Naomi. They hit Naomi with either we call it the 3D or you call it the 1D, whatever you want to call it. They hit Tiffany with it, and that's what took her out of the match. And then basically Bayley won with a roll-up, a reverse roll-up. And that's how she got the win. That's Bayley's first title defense in the books. And yeah, it was a solid match. I'm kind of intrigued to see where we go from here, because I don't necessarily think that we should go straight into a feud with Tiffany, but see what the landscape is looking like. And I really think that the problem with the women's division in a way is like I don't really feel like we have a lot of heels. Like I feel like we have so many baby faces, but I don't really feel like we have like established heels. If they choose to keep Tiffany Stratton as a heel, I would enjoy that. Even though the crowd reaction she gets, I just think we need to start building up some heels, because it feels like of the ones that we have, Nia Jax is Nia Jax, right? She gives right now her stock. She gives us good matches. She's going to give us, she's a good character, but do we want to pull the trigger and put a title on her? That's kind of my thought process when it comes to Nia Jax. Tiffany Stratton, like I said, she got so much potential to build in the future. I feel like when Charlotte Flair comes back, which maybe is sometime soon, I see that she's been cranking up her exercise routine on social media. So there's a possibility that maybe we see Charlotte Flair sooner than later. But I think when she comes back, she should be a heel, because me personally, I think Charlotte is a way better heel than she is a babyface. And what else? We got Rhea Ripley, who is a heel per se, but she gets so much babyface reaction. And then you got Damage Control. Like that's kind of where, in my head, where the heel landscape really is right now. We have some other people out there like Shayna Baszler, right? But they're not really building anything to her. Shayna Baszler, I just feel like we dropped the ball with her so much. Like she should be so much more right now, especially if you watched her in the NXT days, when she was the NXT champion, and watched that Shayna Baszler, then That's what we should have. Like, we should get a run with her like that. It should have been like that right after she beat Ronda Rousey. But we are where we are with her. So yeah, the next match on the card after that, I believe, was Damian Priest and Jey Uso. Now, once again, crowd reaction. Jey Uso connection with the crowd, and his entrance. If anything, just go watch his entrance. Like, it's like I said, that crowd was on fire all night. Here's my thing. Match overall, solid match. We got interference from JD McDonough and Finn Balor. We got interference from both of them. The thing about it is that Damian Priest didn't want them to interfere in the match, and we're starting to see the face turn of Damian Priest. I believe that eventually he's going to be the one either kicked out the Judgment Day or outs himself, whatever. And I feel like we're going to get a title match sometime down the line with Finn Balor and Damian Priest. So that is going to be an interesting story to tell. After the match, Damian Priest won, but Finn Balor and JD McDonough tried to beat up Jey Uso after the match, and he grabbed Finn Balor by the beard and was like, "Yo, what I told you to stop." Like, that made me laugh. But yeah, so we got Damian Priest retaining the title. I feel like that was just a foregone conclusion. I would like to see Jey Uso win a title, a singles title, but I don't know. I kind of accept it, even like before WrestleMania, that Jey Uso can be built as main event Jey Uso and have this phenomenal singles run, but there is a possibility that we never see him win a singles title. Like, I feel like I've personally accepted that. Like, I would love to see him win the Intercontinental title. I would love to see him win the World Heavyweight title. Like, even now, I felt like while I was watching the match, I was like, you know what? If he walked away winning this match, it wouldn't make me feel any type of way towards Damian Priest, because I also do feel like we still need to build cachet with Damian Priest being a champion. So I didn't really feel like it would have been the right move for him to lose it. Even though he's a Money in the Bank winner, but even if Finn Balor and JD ended up costing him in the match, I was just like, if they pulled the trigger on Jey Uso right now, let him be the one, because I feel like ultimately when Clash at the Castle comes around, that belt is going to Drew McIntyre, and then after that belt goes to Drew McIntyre, we're going to get that CM Punk feud. So that's how my view of the landscape. Alright, then we had Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair versus Damage Control / Kabuki Warriors, Asuka and Kairi Sane. For me, this match was kind of my bathroom break match. I didn't really care for it a lot. I'm not invested into the women tag team title like that. Just feel like, whoever they're on for a minute. Eventually we're going to tell a story of, can they coexist? Eventually somebody's going to turn on Jade, or Bianca is going to turn on each other, and then we're going to get a feud from there. That's how I feel about it. So, them winning is nice and all, but but the match itself was a pretty fun match. There seems like there was a lot of miscommunication going on in the match between everybody, and yeah, it was a fun match, and we crowned new champions in Jade Cargill, Bianca Belair. I never really felt like any other outcome was going to happen, but yeah. That's really all I got to say about that match. And then we got the main event, which was Cody Rhodes versus AJ Styles. And that match was a banger. And once again, the crowd was on fire. The crowd was on fire the whole match. And I felt like it made AJ and Cody elevate. And I feel like this is the first time in a while that we seen a match with AJ Styles that was a banger. For me, AJ Styles is arguably the Shawn Michaels of this generation, and I feel like AJ, even though he doesn't have title wins and all that glamorous stuff, he's just such a solid in-ring performer, and when he has somebody who can tangle with him that's also of that level, it's just amazing what he's able to put on. And there was a period of time in WWE, you put AJ Styles in a match with anybody, and that match was probably going to be a banger. I don't feel like in the first match, like when we had AJ Styles versus John Cena, that a lot was expected of that. But look what those matches became. Those matches are just great to go back and watch. All three of them. The first one, the second one, and the third one. AJ Styles versus Roman Reigns. I feel like it's kind of sad that throughout his run as the tribal chief, we didn't get a one-on-one with AJ. And at no point, I think that I feel like that should have happened. But this match right here was a solid banger, and I just think, for a first title defense, it was just a great match. We ended it with a super Cody cutter, I believe we're calling it. Came from the top rope and then hit with the crossroads and got the 1, 2, 3. And the crowd, like I said, I appreciate great crowds that help hype up shows and make shows even better. But this crowd really felt like, I don't really remember them booing, like, besides like the beginning with Tangaloa debuting, stuff like that. But I really feel like this crowd was like, forget the booing, we just happy to be here. We trying to have a good time. Like that's what the crowd really felt like. And the main event was just, like I said, it was just a beautiful match. If you didn't see it, you didn't have time to go watch it, just go watch it. It was just great. Fun fact, I guess AJ Styles did a homage to Dusty. For people who don't know, in the past, AJ Styles wrestled Dusty Rhodes in TNA. And AJ Styles wore the same colors that he wore, which was purple. He wore those colors against Cody, and I guess, in a way it's a homage to his match with Dusty. And I think that AJ may be one of the only people who can claim that he's wrestled Dusty and he's also wrestled Cody for a world title. So, nice thing to put on his resume, I guess. But yeah, that was Backlash. It was certainly fun. It was, like, for me, the show, I would give the show a 5 out of 5. And I feel like I'm giving a 5 out of 5 because the crowd just made it so much more fun than it is. Like, it was great. I enjoyed it. And I think, if you watch it, you'll probably enjoy it too. But yeah, before I leave, I wanted to make comments on the WWE draft. I just feel like the draft needs overall rehauling. We need to talk about what goes on here, because this is far too many drafts where either nobody moves around or very limited amount of people move around. For all that, I feel like we shouldn't even call it. We shouldn't even do a draft. If we want to initiate quote unquote trades, and like maybe we gotta, instead of draft season, we got like an NFL trade, not an NFL, a WWE trade season where we're talking about instigating trades. We want to trade this wrestler for this wrestler. We're willing to give this because I really want this one. Versus doing the whole draft for everybody to still end up in the same place. It just doesn't really make a lot of sense. It's a waste of time. Like, especially this year was a waste of time. Maybe make the draft picks mean something. Maybe next year Raw wants to trade for a specific SmackDown pick to get a specific wrestler. Make it make sense. Make it make a little bit more sense. It's just like a waste of time. It was nice to see some people move. Some things I don't understand, like Braun Breaker was made such a big deal of signing the SmackDown and they drafted the Raw. Like, it's just, in the grand scheme of things, stuff that doesn't make sense. But hey, it's over. It's done with. We have what we have now, and on to the future. For me, coming out of this, I don't think we're done with the AJ feud. I feel like we get a little bit more out of that. Probably get another banger match out of that. Extend that feud out. Maybe AJ leans more into doing actual dastardly heel things against Cody in a second match, something like that, or building up to it. But yeah, for the short build that it was and the match that we got, it was definitely great. It was a good one, good solid title defense for Cody, first title defense for Cody. And yeah, other than that, I think that's all I got today. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Like I said, I'm going to leave a link in the comment or the description for the Wrestling is Fiction podcast. Go check them out. Show them love. And hey, leave a like, subscribe, comment. Tell me what you think of the episode. What are your thoughts on Backlash? What did you feel? Did you enjoy the matches? Did you enjoy the crowd? I think that's all I got. Peace.